Hi everybody, I thought I'd do a quick video today just to talk about training zones and where we ideally should be training. And remember the guidelines for people who are used to exercise or anybody under sort of 60 is 150 minutes of moderate activity a week. Moderate CV rhythmic stuff, so the sort of thing we do with Nordic walking or this ski machine would be rhythmic movements. The whole body's being used in a nice rhythmic fashion. 150 minutes of that. Now you can make that up how you want to. It can be 3 lots of 50 minutes, which is typically how a lot of our walkers do it, 3 lots of 50 minutes. Or you could break it up even more than that, and you could have 6 lots of 15 minutes. It doesn't really matter. The idea is that you get into that moderate zone. And sometimes with clients, we have discussions about what moderate actually means. Now, if we call a walk moderate, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to go in at the same pace. It's not a miles per hour thing, it's how hard you're actually working. So if I try to show you what moderate looks like on here, it's about, if you use the RPE, the rate of perceived exertion scale, you'd be looking at somewhere between 5 and 6 would be moderate, kind of thing. 5, 6, maybe 7, but about 6 anyway. So 1 is sat in your living room watching the telly, nothing at all, and 10 is going completely blowing it out, as fast and as hard as you can so you can hardly breathe. A moderate is somewhere in the middle. So you can see now, if we use a sort of talk test, and I was to say a little poem, say, how can a guinea pig show his pleas when he hasn't got a tail to wag? All other animals you will find have a little tail stuck on behind. If they'd only put a tail on a guinea pig and finished off a decent job, the price of a guinea pig would go right up from a guinea to 30 bob. Now you can see I can just keep talking while I'm doing this. So if this is how easy it is for you to talk when you're on a walk or when you're doing an activity, you are not yet in the moderate zone, okay? You're getting some benefit of sorts, I suppose. It's better than sitting in the chair, but you're not really in the moderate zone. So we have to start putting a bit more effort through. So on your walk, you might want to go a bit faster, or in our case with the poles, you might want to push those poles into the ground to generate a little bit more resistance. So if I now start to pull a little bit harder on this ski machine, okay, now I'm starting to get a little bit out of breath now. So if I try and say that same poem, let's get into the moderate zone. So here we go. How can a guinea pig show he's pleased when he hasn't got a tail to wag? All other animals you will find have a little tail stuck on behind. If they only put a tail on a guinea pig and finish off a decent job, the price of a guinea pig would go right up from a guinea to 30 bob. Now, when I'm saying that, you can hear that I'm sort of getting through about a sentence and then I'm having to take a breath, so it's a little bit more laboured, but that is the moderate zone. This is what moderate is like. So mildly out of breath, this is probably about my 6 out of 10. Now, this is where you need to be on your walks to get some real benefit. Now, of course, on a walk situation, some people will have to go faster or push their poles into the ground harder, but normally it turns into speed along the ground. So you can have somebody that to get into this zone has to be walking quite quickly, and you can have somebody else that, seemingly going really slowly like this, but they're still getting into the same moderate zone. So you can see that moderate does not mean speed, it means where your heart is and how hard you're working, looking at somewhere between 5 and 7 perhaps on the RPE scale out of 10. Now 150 minutes of that, but some clients do involve themselves with things like Trek Fit and indoor circuits and things, and if you work a little bit harder, you can do 75 minutes of that. So 75 minutes at harder intensity a week. So this would look like this. So you've just seen me in moderate. Now let me try and get into a higher cardio zone. And you see I'm having to work a lot harder now. And now I'm really working. So you normally do this for short blasts, sort of bursts. Now, if I try and say that poem now, how can a guinea pig show he's pleased, and he hasn't got a tail to wag. All other animals, you will find, have a little tail stuck on behind. You can only put on a guinea and finish off a decent job. Price of a guinea pig, you go right up from a guinea to 30 bob. Now, you can definitely hear how hard I'm working there. Really intense, really hard. Now you couldn't keep that up for an hour, for a 2-hour walk. It's impossible. So you do little blasts of it. So there's no reason why we're on a walk and you're in your moderate zone. You could just say to the walk leader, I'm gonna have a little blast up there now. Push myself on to the next bridge on the canal, or go back to that last lock gate, and then push yourself along to get yourself back up and burn off some of those higher intensity minutes. Now, if somebody's just starting out in exercise, the first time they've tried to do an exercise, we're not going to be pushing them up onto these levels. We're going to let them get used to it, play themselves in a little bit. But once you've been walking with us regularly, we need to see you in that moderate zone. The walk leaders know all about this. They're all trained. They understand how important it is that we get into that moderate zone, so we're mildly out of breath. You can hear I got more out of breath than moderate there. That's more. All we're looking for is this kind of thing. About 6 out of 10. And I can speak, but it's in sentences. It's not free. It's not free speak. I'm still having to work at speaking to you. And we call this the talk test. So, if I am watching you on a Trek Fit class or something, and you're just talking all the way round, and there's you know, the speech is free, there doesn't seem to be any sort of labouring in your speech, and you're just chatting away all the way around, you're not working hard enough. It's as simple as that. There's no two ways about it. You're just not working hard enough. And so we need to be looking at that as well, particularly on the conditioning sessions. Obviously with adventure walks, what we're looking at is the onus is actually on the sociability and enjoying yourself, and that's perfectly right and okay, but we still want you in that moderate zone. In that moderate zone. It doesn't matter, even if it's a well-being walk and you can only go a little bit slower, that's perfectly okay. You're still getting the moderate zone because it's all related to you as a person and your level of fitness. It's not related in any way whatsoever to speed along the ground. Okay, and we've got to put this idea of speed along the ground stuff to bed as soon as we can. The other thing we need to be working at really with older adults and anybody, but particularly older adults, is some resistance training. Now, I'll just turn the camera around for a minute. Okay, so resistance training. We could use weights for this, okay? We could use some weights, and we can use some kind of resistance training, which we do in our indoor circuits. You could use tins of beans, doesn't really matter, but we need to use some kind of resistance training for you. And we need to be doing that sort of twice a weekish, of about 30 minutes each time. Again, you can break that up. You don't have to do it all in one go. You know, try and do your 30 minutes twice a week, or you could do 10 minutes 6 times a week. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure you talk to me if you want to know how you can do that and how you can do it efficiently, so that you're using some of these muscles, so your body preserves your musculature. It's really, really important. And then of course we also do we also do some stretches as well at the end of every exercise session. They're important. We need to do some flexibility, and we need to work on balance a little bit. And sometimes we need to work on sort of motor skills. So in other words, you know, catching a ball or throwing a ball or something like that, where we're using motor skills. So these things are something that Mercy Nordic Walking and Adult Fitness do. We do on a regular basis. The walk leaders and instructors are all trained to be able to do this, so you get the most out of your training. There's very little point in just trying to do fitness training blind. Just going for a walk on your own doesn't always get you the results that you want, because you're not trained sufficiently to understand how to get the results that you want, whereas the instructors and walk leaders are. So that's why we try to encourage you to come and learn about fitness and see how fitness actually works. It's really, really important. You might want to read about the fitness principle, you might want to read about the overload and progression principles of fitness. But also, if you're doing a lot of high intensity, so if you're doing 2 high intensity sessions a week, 2 to 3 is quite enough, really, you know, because your body needs to recover as well, and needs to rest and recuperate. That's really important too. So bear that in mind. Whereas going for a nice rhythmical walk or jog, even a slow jog, you can do that pretty much every day, as long as you're not carrying any injuries or anything. So I've got a qualification, level 3 qualification in programming for the older adults. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. Personal training, one-to-one qualifications, so that we can provide you with the best service that we can. Okay, we're not just guessing at this, we're not just going for walks, we are doing it to help you get your fitness. But as I've said before, fitness is all about what your goal is. Without knowing what your goal is, we can't really advise you what fitness is about, because if you said, well, do you know what, I really want to be an Olympic weightlifter, it's a totally different training to if you wanted to say, I want to walk to the stones, like some of our clients are doing soon. So we want to make sure that we sit down with you sometimes and discuss your goals, so we can advise you what are the best activities to get involved with. I hope you found this useful. I'm doing this as Malcolm's just finishing off his walk today with his 6-week walk fit course. I've got to say I'm delighted, because one of the elements of the fit principle, there is frequency, intensity, time and type. And we're looking here at time spent on the exercise. So each week Malcolm is just increasing that time spent on the walk, in distance of course, but increasing the time spent on the walk, which means we're using the fit principle to help you get fitter. I'm so proud of that, it's amazing. Elaine, she's got some fantastic exercise walks on, where she's doing some exercise on the way around. That's the type of exercise, so you're no longer just walking around, you're now putting some exercises in there as well. So that's the type of exercise. Obviously you've got me with indoor circuits. Intensity, of course, you can all work on your own intensity when you're on a walk. You can go as fast as you want to, provided you keep coming back to the instructor and abide by the rules. That's the intensity type, and of course that's where Carol does that with her moderate activity on a Wednesday and a Tuesday. And then of course intensity gets kicked in when you go up Clent Hills as well. So when you walk up Clent, we've got intensity there, because the hills build that in for you. So Mercy Nordic Walking and Outdoor Fitness gives you everything that you need, everything that you want, with some very, very professional leaders and instructors, and I for one, very proud of them. So I hope to see you soon. If you're not sure about how fitness works, you want to talk it through, give us a call. We're here to help. See you soon. Bye.